What up? It's Sharp here with the Kickdown at 2 Dynamite Review, July 14th, 2021. We're talking Fyter Fest, night one, live from Austin. Back on the road, baby. Well, the second week back on the road, but I'm joined here by Chris and Quags. How you boys doing?
So ready to talk about this show. So ready to talk about it.
We've been amped and ready. Like, subscribe, comment, click that orange box, and we'll be good to go.
Let's go.
All right, let's start off hot.
Our text thread was popping off. Even though we're not supposed to text before the podcast, got to keep it all up, but I just couldn't do it. I'm so amped to talk about this show.
This was one of those ones where Chris and Quags on the East Coast were just like, "Oh, this is great. This is so awesome." And I'm just like, "Don't say any of the pertinent details."
It was hard, but we kept it kosher at that point.
All right. So in the opening match, we had Jon Moxley retaining the IWGP US title when he defeated Carl Anderson about 11 minutes with a paradigm shift. What did you think, Quags?
Man, Mox is so hot coming out. Crowd loves him. Love that he went up into a place where it didn't look like he was supposed to, invading the crowd. And love that the crowd respected it too, by the way. Crowd was super hot for this match. And it just felt really important. It felt really big. Carl Anderson felt like an important wrestler, singles wrestler, in a way that I don't think I've ever experienced him. I thought they made Mox look dominant, but they still let Carl Anderson get his stuff in, which I appreciated. A lot of stuff outside the ring, a lot of good shots. Sort of an interesting comment that I would love to hear y'all thoughts on, but a couple sloppy spots that they sort of made look good in the end, where it almost made it look real, even though I know watching wrestling, it was just sloppy. Like he picked them up wrong, or they were in the corner wrong, or whatever it was. So just curious about that. Good enough ending, exactly what we thought. Mox going over, retaining the belt, setting up his next match immediately after. But yeah, all in all, I like this. It was a good way to kick it off, and man, the crowd was into this. And just talking about the last 18 months of wrestling not really having fans involved, it's just a different world with them in there, and it's so much better.
Oh, absolutely. It woke me up, honestly. I was a little tired watching. I was just like, wow, I'm wide awake now. And I was actually curious to hear Eric's take on this, because I felt this was like a New Japan kind of style match. Pretty hard hitting back and forth. And yeah, I wasn't the biggest Carl fan either, but I think he kind of showed out in this just to kind of be serviceable. But Moxley coming out to Wild Thing with like the hot Texas crowd, it was just, it's just really fun to watch. But Eric, I'm kind of curious of like being the New Japan fan, how is this match compared to you? What you view?
Well, it's certainly not like a classic by that standard, or by AEW standards by any means, but Carl Anderson's a really solid in-ring hand, and I thought I really liked this match. Quags, I definitely agree with you. There was one part where Anderson had him on his shoulder and he pile drived him, but he was like falling over as he did it. I was like,
missed it.
That was crazy. I was just like, he just drilled his head.
I actually, to your point, Quags, when you said Moxley was kind of dominant, I was surprised at how much offense they gave Anderson. But the thing with Moxley is he's so over at this point that he can afford to get his ass kicked a decent amount. And that kind of fits his character too. And he doesn't lose anything in the process.
Seems like part of his character, like Kingston too, who by the way still came out with him, is that they're okay getting the shit kicked out of them for a while because they're tough. That's part of their deal.
Yeah, they're just the anti-heroes.
My last note would be one match, no after brawl. How nice!
Hallelujah!
Got a good breath of fresh air. I was just like, we got the next one.
We got Kingston and Gallows out of there right away, brawling into the back, and we just got to watch a pure match. Yeah, with no brawl. You're right.
So then afterwards, backstage, we had Lance Archer cutting a promo challenging Moxley to a Texas death match for the IWGP US title next week. Good simple promo. Archer's from Dallas, so this makes sense because they're in Dallas next week. And I'll say this, the first, I think it was 2 years ago, it wasn't COVID, so I think it was 2 years ago, they did New Japan came to Dallas for the first night of the G1 Climax, and Archer versus Ospreay, and the crowd loved Archer, and he had the best match of his career. So I'm expecting him to go balls to the wall next week. I'm excited to watch that match.
Nice.
See, this is where them having these extra belts can work in their favor, because what's Archer doing? He's kicking around. We know he's really important, but then getting to shotgun to this title actually makes sense and will make otherwise okay match seem really important, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Quags. Honestly, I was the proponent of always saying, like, why do you have these prop belts? It's making it confusing. This definitely helps out both of them in a sense of making them feel both important. I'm very excited for this match, but I am worried though. Are we looking at another Archer loss here in a big match?
Probably, but not definitely. Not definitely.
No, I don't know definitely, but can he afford another big match loss? He lost to Miro, and before that he lost to Cody. Before that he lost Moxley again. Like,
I always think about monsters differently. Like, I don't like, even if Moxley wins, like, I don't know, he's still scary. Like, and he still has a great manager, and he's a heel. I mean, he's kind of a tweener now, but
I think he works great as a tweener. I think that, like, a lot of characters can't pull off tweeners. I think his character can pull off tweener great.
Maybe he's just like he's an assassin, like, comes in, like, and even if he can't win the big matches, he still can beat everybody on the lower tier. But I don't know.
Right.
It's a good question.
The promo was good, but that's the only thing that kind of popped into me. I'm like, can you afford another big match loss?
I think they're just kind of trying to find something for him to do at this point. Like Quag said, it kind of seems like he's just floating right now. So he beat up Dan Lambert last week, but I think this is a good match for him to have.
Yeah.
All right. So then earlier today, we had a backstage promo from Andrade El Idolo. They used subtitles at the bottom of the screen while he told Alejandris that he was looking for the Death Triangle. I like this promo. I thought the subtitles were a little weird, and I thought, because I don't think his English is that broken where you need subtitles, but specifically the text size for the subtitles was huge, which was really odd to me.
You're reading it. You're definitely reading
it. So strange. And then I like, though, that they kept this a mystery as to if he's looking for them to try to whoop their ass, or if he's going to be like, hey, we should join forces. So I like that. I like this whole segment.
I didn't even think about the mystery part of it, but that makes sense to me. Yeah, I like the subtitles. Anything that keeps Andrade who it is and who he is, and we don't have to worry about him speaking English or not. Like, I think we're all on the same page. Like, I could care less. He's awesome. He doesn't need to cut a promo in English, honestly. Cut it in Spanish, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I really loved the angle of being like, I know you're Penta's translator, and you know where he is, and I'm telling you better find him for me and his group for whatever, if it's nefarious reasons or not. I thought that was sick.
Right. Yeah, the subtitles were weird at first. I didn't really know what to think of him, especially I could understand everything he was saying in the beginning. So I'm like, why are they giving subtitles? Like, I could hear him, but then at the end he started speaking Spanish. So now I'm like, okay, maybe they just want to roll through.
I don't know. Also, maybe you guys are younger than me. I watch subtitles on like I have subtitles on like half the stuff I watch.
You're like my parents. They put it on like things where they don't even have access.
Sorry to interrupt you, Chris.
No, yeah, it's just interesting. It didn't bother me, honestly. I thought it would actually, if we talked about more before it happened, I would say that it would, like, that's going to bother me. It really didn't. I didn't really care at that point, but yeah, I'm intrigued by the mystery of the Death Triangle. That's I think what I took away from the promo is like, I'm wondering where they're going to go from here.
All right. So then we had Hook and Hobbs ringside, Taz on commentary as Ricky Starks defeated Brian Cage for the FTW title. About 10 minutes after Hobbs hit Cage with the title belt and Starks hit him with a spear. What'd you think, Chris?
I thought this match was fun. The crowd was super into Starks, like right from the beginning. Like as soon as he came out, everyone was just going nuts. And I was just like, whoa. Everyone, like, first off, Eric, I know you're his favorite out of all of us.
Number one Starks guy.
Yeah, number one Starks dude over here. Starkman Jones over here. It's just that, like, he was supposed to be kind of the heel in this, and he comes in and everyone's cheering for him. I'm like, oh, okay, they're definitely gonna boo Cage. And as soon as he came out, everyone booed him. I'm like, all right, I mean, like, it doesn't really matter. They're cheering someone, booing someone, whatever. But that was just interesting. It didn't take away from the match. I'll admit the beginning was choppy. I know this is probably Stark's first big match, like kind of in a while, especially after his really scary injury. But
Yeah.
they kind of like picked it up towards, I think the crowd made it better as it was like more exciting. I actually still like the story that they kind of told, as in like Cage was going for a German suplex. The announcer sold it well, saying, "Oh, that's how he injured his neck." And then Starks was targeting Cage's bicep injury. Like it was, they were trying to rope a lot of things in. So I thought that was good. So the match was really fun. It was choppy, but they picked it up towards, especially towards the end. And I liked how the ending happened. So we could just assume now Brian Cage is out of Team Taz. And I think this kind of makes a clearer version of what Team Taz is. You got Taz who's the manager, got Starks as leader, got Hobbs is the big powerhouse, obviously, guy. And you got Hook, who's the prospect, like, or you get like the up and coming guy or whatever. And now you can have Cage as being like kind of this big like face monster, and he's gonna probably feud with them, and now it keeps that FT. And I was kind of complaining a lot about this FTW title, as in like it's not doing anything. But the way how Cage and Starks were going at each other and kind of going like nuts for it made it seem so much more important. That's, I think they made the title more than the title made them. I think in that scenario, as in like, okay, they're wrestling as hard as they can, and that tells me that this title means a lot to them.
I liked the ending a lot. I thought it was really well done. But what didn't make sense was at one point, Ricky Starks was trying to hit Cage with the belt, and Hobbs took it away from him and kind of shook his head. And then he instantly got hit with an F5 and kicked out.
Yeah.
So it was like, whoa, was that your plan for him to like, it didn't make sense. I know maybe like it was like, oh, let's set up distracting the ref from an angle so I can hit him with the belt. It didn't quite track for me.
That was a bit dicey.
Like you said, it was clunky at the beginning. Cage did one point where he ran into the turnbuckle with his shoulder, and he just slowed down so much where he just kind of like barely hit it, and I was like, that looked awful. And I thought it was a fun match overall, though. And my last note is he hit the F5 and he kicked out of it, and I think the crowd popped pretty big for them kicking out of an F5, almost as like a FU to Brock Lesnar. Like,
yeah, I felt the same. I think you're right, Sharp, about that whole episode. I think it was just overwriting, overthinking.
Yes.
Where the crowd and us at home, and like even people that watch us all the time, couldn't totally follow what was going on there. Yeah, I thought it was good. I like the ending. I mean, I'm excited to see Brian Cage now wrestle all these people separately, together, or whatever, I like where it brought us. Do agree it was clunky at the beginning. I mean, they're really talented, though. This is going to be a fun feud, and just an example of like, is this like the D or E storyline in AEW? Mm-hmm. And we're invested in it. I definitely am. So props to them.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely invested in it. And just a quick note of what AEW shows do. Like, we just got a New Japan style match in the beginning. We got some cool promos. And now we got this pretty cool classic back and forth of like this intergroup feuding with each other. Get all different kind of flavors in this ice cream shop.
All right, so then we had Cody marching out to the announce table. He called Malachi Black out for kicking Arn Anderson, then headed to the ring with a mic. He said he doesn't win every fight, and he challenged Black to come out to the ring. On the big screen, Malachi told a kind of strange story about a man putting down his prize stallion. Malachi said he looked in Cody's eyes last week.
Got a little dark.
and he doesn't have it anymore. Cody told Malachi to come down to the ring and get a better look. Malachi was hoping he'd say that. Lights went out. When they turned back on, Malachi Black was in the ring. Brawl ensued, but security quickly broke it up.
So I was watching AEW with a friend of the pod named Jack Eller last night, and so this is
certified hunk.
Certified hunk.
Certified
Shout out
hunk.
to Jack.
Yeah, I got a couple interesting perspectives. One of the things he said that I don't totally agree with is he goes, "What's Cody doing? Is he just trying to be the Miz like
Oh no.
being on camera, calling everyone together. So then the second thing he said is that Tommy End slash Malachi Black is Christopher Walken meets Bray Wyatt, and I thought that was a more apt comparison.
Yeah, that's pretty. That's
That
not a
kinda
bad
makes sense.
comparison.
I could see that going together.
So my personal take on it is it spooky or is it bad? And I don't know. And it's also interesting that Cody is referring to him by both names. And I know that's kind of a thing they're trying to do, is that it's Tommy End, but he's possessed by the devil. So he's Malachi Black. So I actually appreciate that they're kind of trying to work that in, but it might be a little too much. I'm excited to see him actually compete and wrestle. But this is some of the things we said about WWE misusing him as Aleister Black, where just let him wrestle. Just let him have matches. I don't know that we need all this complicated story for him. It's sort of interesting to me. I'm sort of into that. And I really loved, for example, Firefly Funhouse with The Fiend. But
I was a big fan of that as well. Yeah.
But I think Aleister.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Hard pass.
No, I know. I understand that. That's fine. But the thing is, I don't know if Bray is as good of a wrestler as Aleister Black is, or Tommy End, or Malachi Black. So I want to see him wrestle.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. This was you hit the nail on the head. I agree with everything you're saying. Eric, I was actually gonna text you about this, but I know you didn't watch the show yet. But I just thought it was actually good presentation. Cody's also great on emotional, passionate promos. So that was great. No, what's up?
Can I add that Cody was great too?
Yeah.
I only said Jack said he was trying to be like this, which I did not think was accurate. I just thought it was a funny casual wrestling fan thing. But Cody's bit was great. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries, because I agree. He was great in that sense. So he kind of started off hot. So I was like, okay, perfect. I kind of like the white suit that Cody was wearing, and then Malachi Black was wearing the black suit, looking kind of like a demon in itself. And I just thought that was just good presentation. And I was kind of curious, Eric, of what you think, kind of seeing on the producer back in the role of just seeing that on TV, as in not all the time. It's not the words that they say, but how they kind of present themselves in a sense.
Well, the biggest thing that struck me with this is the fact that he was on the big screen, and as soon as someone hits the big screen, they're going to cut a promo. We're not going to get anything. So the fact that he actually was like, oh, I was hoping you'd say that, and then appeared in the ring.
Yeah.
You heard how freaking crazy that crowd got. That was a really cool presentation. I didn't love his promo. I'll disagree with you a little bit, Quags. I don't hate that when someone arrives in a promotion. I think it's a good thing to get across. What's your motivation? What are you trying to do? I just don't love the idea of his motivation being, I'm going to go take out Cody, the old dog, or the old horse, or whatever. I just feel like this is actually a story we've had. Not necessarily that he's an old horse, but that everyone seems to come after Cody right when they get in this promotion. And it almost has a stink of Cody just trying to get the rub off of these fresh new guys.
Yeah. I understand that. Yeah, I understand that.
But I like the brawl, and the security getting there quick was good too. Break it up real quick. I liked it. I liked the segment a lot overall, personally. I thought it was good.
Saves it for more.
Yeah. All right. So then backstage, Alex Marvez interviewed Tully, who was rolling his luggage in. They were interrupted by Santana and Ortiz. Ortiz grabbed Tully. Santana whipped out a crowbar to hit the cowering Tully. It was a fake crowbar, though, and they let Tully go. They respect their elders and told Tully he better get his boys. Then Tully responded awkwardly, I'll get my boys. just wait. Decent way to show that they get the upper hand on the heels. They outsmarted them, but they're noble people, so they won't beat them up. It was fine.
Why was the crowbar fake? They didn't even hit. They didn't even
kill him.
Yeah, but they weren't gonna hit him. You know what I mean? As in, hey,
it's even more embarrassing when it's a rubber crowbar.
Yeah, that's how I took it. As pretend you're about to hit him, and then be like, no, be the baby faces that you are. Be like, oh no, we'd rather hit you when your boys are here because we don't hit you from behind. And that took 2 minutes of me to think about, and I felt like that was way better than That's the only thing that bothered me because it's professional wrestling. So it's all staged and scripted. So don't show like, oh yeah,
Wait,
this is fake
what?
or whatever.
I was gonna do a spit take there. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's
no, I see that.
It was fine.
I thought this was good. I mean, all the stuff they're doing is just building it all. I'm just thinking about the like 2-hour long YouTube video I'm gonna watch in 15 years about the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. So like this is gonna be in there.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm probably the most excited about FTR versus Santana Ortiz. I'm the biggest fans of FTR. I know that match is gonna tear the house down.
All right, so then in the ring, Shivani interviewed Hangman Page. He was close to winning the AEW title, but he failed. Dark Order was right, though. He still needs that championship. Don Callis interrupted. He said, deep down, Hangman knows he's not that guy. Matt Jackson came to the ring. He said Hangman abandoned him. He's a sad, lonely, drunk cowboy and the next great wrestling tragedy. Page got in his face, punched him out. Omega rolled in, was about to hit him with the title, but Dark Order ran them off. Page challenged Omega to a match, and Omega countered by saying, how about a 5-on-5 elimination tag, Dark Order versus Elite? Hangman said, all right, but when they win, Kenny gets a title. Omega, Jesus Christ. Hangman said, okay, but when they win, Hangman gets a title match, and the Dark Order also gets a tag title match. Hangman freaked out, but they countered with, if they have the match and the Elite win, Hangman can't challenge for the title, and neither can the Dark Order. Kenny told Hangman to walk away. He knows he's afraid of failure. Hangman said the Dark Order doesn't back down from a fight they're on. And there was also a bunch of cowboy shit chants.
Right,
that was
cheers.
a lot. So that was a lot better laid out than I just did it because it was over the course of like 15 minutes.
Cheers for you getting through that.
Getting through that.
Give,
nice job.
Let's
nice job.
give you
nice job.
Round of applause.
I'll say this. It was a good segment with the fans acting exactly how you want them to. They were booing Kenny. They were booing
again.
Bucks.
Yeah.
And I like the promo by Omega. I like that he's kind of revitalized. He's not like a drunken sad guy. And I like the fact that now he has to, hey, you really like these guys that you're with, this group of losers? Can you trust them to make sure you don't lose your potential title shot? I think that's a fun hook. So the one other thing I was going to say is this, if they're going to have this elimination match, and obviously Kenny Omega is going to lose. So if it's an elimination match, he's got to get pinned.
That's what I was thinking.
Or intentionally get DQ'd or counted out.
Oh, but AEW does not like Tony Khan vehemently like tells a lot, saying like he prides himself saying like I can count on my hand of like last year of like if we do any of those falsy finishers, it's not even more than 3.
If I was the booker, this would be the time to have Kenny Omega just literally be the last one left and walk out and not
but then that means he has to have a match though. So I mean, how many Dark Order guys do you have left where he says no, like F this and walks out? Or maybe Callis runs him out, or maybe somebody on his own team knocks him out. Like there's a lot of ways you can do it.
They might get creative.
It's gonna be fun to see.
They might get creative of how they eliminate.
I mean, I loved this. First of all, Adam Page's shirt was great. He's great. I love him. Love when the Bucks are saying, you won't hit me, and he just smacks him in the face. We need more of that, right? Like, you won't do it, or like, you can't beat me, and then just beat them. I thought Kenny was great. I love how Kenny isn't taking the full Bucks like just being obnoxious persona, but you can see it rubbing off on him, and where it looks like the Elite is a gang with Callis and all of them. My only other thing is, man, the Bucks with like their horrible obnoxious clothing choices, like stuff, like
so fun.
Just every week I'm like, what are they gonna do now? And just every week they really clear the bar, and I was impressed by this. I'm really excited for the future.
Yeah, this was very good. This is an awesome story. Like, we've been raving about this, but it's just like, it's such a classic cool underdog story, as in like, hey, you're scared to fail, and this guy's now like coming out of his own. And I'm actually shocked. I'm also thinking about the Dark Order has come such like a long way. Think about this when they debuted.
So crazy.
Everyone hated them. They're like, these guys are weird. What the hell is this? And then like they were falling a while. And then they became like this comedy thing. And then R.I.P. Brody Lee, but he revived them, made him into like a good heel group. And then unfortunately what happened? And then like came this comedy act, but now they're like I don't even like calling them losers, but like they're the lovable losers. Like you just want them to do well, but they're so funny along the way. And for them to convince Adam Page, like we were raving about it last week, and to continue on this week, saying like, "Hey, we got your back. Like even if you don't want to be our group, you won't want to be alone. Like we still got your back." And like at the same time, they made the tag titles important. And also in my head, at the same time, if they do Young Bucks versus Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, that match is going to be really good. Like I know they've been raving about them on the independents, and like you could tell why they wanted to sign them first on the in AEW, but then they kind of fumbled a little bit when they debuted, so it took a little time. So I know that match is going to be great. This 5-on-5 elimination match is going to be very good. I think it's going to help get a lot of people a good rub, like on the Dark Order end. I don't know who's going to be on the Elite end, but like I think it's going to be a lot of back and forth, and I think it should be a very fun match. But this is a very cool ride to kind of go on. You just want to just root for the good guys, which that's what wrestling is.
I'll just say as a final comment, I agree very much with all this, and the next pay-per-view is a little far off. I hope they hone in on the more serious elements of like you're a failure, Kenny telling Hangman that he's a failure, and then him overcoming it. I hope they hone in on that a little more.
I think in time that's what they're doing. I don't think they want to like reveal everything right now, but like each going in time, I think he's just going to keep portraying more as like, hey, remember we're a tag team. Hey, that was me doing the work. You failed. You lost the time. Like it's just like constant.
So last week we talked about when they get into promos, they're going to do it, and this felt like they got into it a little more. Like, you know, you're drunk. Like it felt like Kenny's stuff felt a little existential to me. Like, you know, beyond the ring and about his personality and being a failure. So I just think it's going to progress more into that. And the characters are primed for that, right? Like they perfectly fit.
They've been building this for a while.
And this is I said last comment, but this is my other last comment. If they had any plans of having Page lose this match, I think they need to scrap them and make the title change, because the crowd is ready for Page to win.
I think that's right. And I think it's Kenny's time to start dropping all these belts too. I mean, we've talked about it a bunch where it's inevitable, right? That it's gonna, I mean, you know, I guess it's not inevitable. Like, you know, you could book him the champ forever, but it doesn't make any sense to do that.
It is making the title important, because you don't want to like play hot potato with it, because then it becomes a prop. But like, Eric, I actually think that this is what New Japan actually has like a fault to, though. I feel like they make that title so prestigious, as in like, no, this guy can't. I feel like
they hold it for like a year and a half.
Yeah, I feel like they missed the boat with like, you could have gotten a lot of guys, very prominent guys over, but like just because like no, only a select few can hold this, be like, all right, well then this guy like is going to go elsewhere. It's just, I think AEW should learn from that. What you just said, Eric, is that maybe the trigger is now.
When it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so then we had Alex Marvez interviewing Chris Jericho backstage. Jericho said what MJF forgot is that Hercules faced the 5 labors successfully, and so will Jericho. Doesn't matter what he needs to go through. He's the god of thunder and the god of war. Then Shawn Spears smashed Jericho with a chair. MJF entered, told Jericho the first labor is next week when he wrestles Spears. Only Spears can use a chair, but Jericho can't. That's the stipulation. And then Spears hit Jericho's arm with a wimpy chair shot.
This was okay. It was kind of Jericho being Jericho. Solid, same stuff again though. Like I know he's going to be pushing for like his like God of like War like t-shirt and stuff like that. So he's really pushing that story. And you could tell like Jericho and MJF really want to get an intellectual story going on and stuff. And I know that whole Hercules story too. So like I'm interested in it. That's fine. This whole announcement, it was a little missed it a little bit, but it's Shawn Spears. I think he kind of needed this. And this is like I think this is a very good first labor step. as in like, you don't want it to just say, hey, you got to go against this guy, and he's gonna just mop the floor with this guy. So
the tension's not built up enough where the loss is going to be that meaningful, even for Sean Spears.
Yeah, exactly. It's Sean Spears, as in like, if you put Sean Spears and Jericho in the ring, we all know who's going to win. So like, at least, okay, give him like a leeway of like, okay, you could use a chair, Jericho can't. Now you have some sort of like, okay, here's this underdog mentality of why we're cheering for Jericho. So I think this is a good first step. I thought it was kind of like right to the point. The chair shots a little, Sean Spears is a little awkward. Hopefully he'll correct that for next week.
Yeah, I agree. Jericho, good promo. I like how it ended. But yeah, I think Sean Spears is nervous because of how he killed Cody, to be honest.
You got a lot of flack for that. I heard.
At some point you got to put it in the back of your mind, but yeah, it was okay. It'll be exciting.
Own the role.
All right, I have nothing to add. All right, Christian defeated Matt Hardy about 12 minutes with the kill switch. After the match, the Hardy family office came out to attack Christian, but Jurassic Express came to give him backup. Luchasaurus picked up Christian on his shoulders, and Jungle Boy kind of gave him a weird look.
For as much as I was not excited for this feud, and as much as I was hating on this, I was happy it was over. But for to give props for how old these guys are, they can hold a match. So that was fine. The match was okay and everything. I felt the ending was kind of abrupt, though. I could tell what they were trying to do. I knew that, like, oh, wow, he's going to get counted out. And then he rushes in. But it was kind of weird. You could kind of tell he picked him up. And then he's like, hey, and then, like, you could even see them kind of, like, talking a little bit as in, like, all right.
Christian carried. He really carried the match.
Christian is the kind of the star of the match. And, like, we know Matt Hardy was just playing his foil to, like, what he's going to, which is probably my favorite part about this match was actually not the match. It was actually the end, what Eric pointed out correctly. I'm excited for a Christian Cage Jungle Boy feud. And I actually thought that was very good on their part of Luchasaurus carrying Cage just because they're just cheering on Cage 1, putting this whole feud behind this, please. And Jungle Boy kind of giving a gaze look as in like, hey, wait, that's me. That's always going to be on your shoulders. And I kind of like that because they even did the whole shoulder thing of Jungle Boy being on Luchasaurus. Someone said that like it was a fan who tweeted saying how cool would that be, and then they're like, oh yeah, we should do it. So it's just funny how now he's just like, oh wait a minute, that's my thing that you're doing or whatever. And I think it's going to be great for Christian Cage. I think it's going to be great for Jungle Boy. That was my favorite part of the match. I mean, the end of the match where I was okay with the match ending, and then Jungle Boy getting kind of giving Christian Cage a look.
I think you guys got to give these boys some dap. I thought this was a really good match. I thought it was just laid out
not
great.
At all. No, I'm just kidding.
a ton of clever spots. It was really cleanly wrestled. I agree that the ending came out of nowhere. I didn't love that. Quick note, I didn't realize that Hardy's submission move is called the leech, which is perfect for like what the move is. It's just like squeezing someone, and he's leeching money out of all these young guys.
Oh, but we knew that for weeks, Eric. That's just you. We knew that. Yeah, I thought that was great 5 weeks ago.
All right, and my last note, which has nothing to, is not gonna you guys either way. They did one of my favorite wrestling moves, which is super simple. When the guy holds the other guy's legs and they catapult their neck into the rope.
Oh yeah,
I love that move.
Okay. It's like a classic move. But
that's a Randy. That feels like a Randy Orton move to me. Just a classic lazy ass.
Yeah, let's slingshot.
I think it always looks good. I think it looks good.
Yeah, I thought Christian carried the match was the only thing. I didn't have a problem with the ending being how it was. I thought it made Christian look smart, and Matt Hardy's supposed to be smart, but we know he's not, right? Or the character, right? Money Matt.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I'm just lusting after the idea of having broken Matt Hardy back. So I struggle with everything he's doing until then. But actually a fun, subtle thing to have Christian be feuding with Jungle Boy after being his like mentor, quote unquote, for a while. Hey, maybe he can cut promos and we don't know, and it's just been part of the character. No, we'll see.
All right, so then we had a promo with Miro, which he narrated his rise in AEW, featured clips of his destruction. He is the Redeemer.
Yeah, the Messiah complex is going to an interesting place, right? I mean, it's cool. Thought Lana might pop up after her a couple tweets and Instagrams and whatnot, but not yet. But soon, I guarantee you.
This gimmick is way better than his original. That's what I take it as. Like, good thing he's ditched whatever he was doing before and he's going back to this. Did they change the color?
They changed the belts. Yeah, they changed the belt colors.
Mm.
They're like Bulgarian colors. Which
okay. Oh, that's actually cool. I couldn't really. It was too quick, and
it the side plates or the whole belt?
Like the whole belt is white. Is back to white again, which it was black before. Yeah,
it's black. Yeah, it's white. I just
cool,
thought, it was...
but you don't want to change your belts too often. Then it gets kind of weird.
Yeah, because they retired. Like, it was appropriate how they changed it the first time they retired it with Brody Lee. So I was just like, oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that actually makes me like it more. I was a little confused.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool package. I liked it.
Yeah.
So then in the ring, Shivani interviewed Dr. Britt Baker. Britt said Nyla beat her in the past, and that Nyla's top of the food chain, but Britt is off the menu. Vicky and Nyla watched on a monitor in the back as Britt said Vicky's last name keeps her relevant, but Nyla needs the title to stay relevant. Next week, Britt will beat Nyla, and with or without the belt, she's still DMD. Crowd went nuts. Cut to Vicky and Nyla backstage. Said Britt's gonna get her ass kicked.
It's very stupid to have them cut a promo when everyone is going crazy for Britt. That was dumb to have them cut that backstage segment. But the bigger thing in question, I'm curious your take on it, but to have Britt Baker be like, yeah, I'm the champion, but it doesn't matter if I'm the champion or not. I'm a huge star. I'm still going to be DMD. Like, I feel like she's, and I really held back on saying this last week, but I feel like she's doing it more, so I have to say it. I feel like she's trying to do an Austin thing where she's like,
yeah.
And it's too, I don't know. I'm kind of like, you're too green for this. Like, you can't be above it all yet. You're not, like, you haven't shown you're dominant. You haven't shown you're great as the face or a heel. Like, you can't really cut a promo on Tony Khan, who everyone loves. Like, I don't know. I like what she's doing, but I don't like the bigger idea of what she's doing. I don't think she's earned it yet.
So I disagree. I thought this was a really good promo, and I think don't wait to earn it. Just take it. And I think her promos have been really good. And I think this one specifically, I think the Austin comparison though is very fitting. Like, obviously she's not as good as Stone Cold Steve Austin, but it's very much the anti-hero. Like, I'm still talking shit about my opponents, but you're still cheering me, which is where they have to go now, because she's going to get cheered no matter what. So, and I really liked it. I agree though. The last line when she said, with or without the belt, I'm still DMD, was strange in that seems like a final line for a babyface before they lose the title. Mm-hmm. But I think it was more of a diss to Nyla, like without the belt, you're no one. Yeah. But it did rain a little strange to me too, dude. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, wait, one other note. When Tony, there's a couple times in the show, the Hangman and this, for once, someone just had Tony interview them and they just had him hold the mic and speak into the mic. And it was just, please more of that. Please more normalcy in getting interviewed, so that when someone actually snatches the mic from his hands, it means something, because they do that like it's so often, and it's just too much.
Also, he's been in the industry, like, he's, you know, not as long as JR, but like he's nearing that like very long term thing. Like, it's a huge no one would snatch the mic from JR. That's what I'm trying to say. Right?
Yeah.
So like, it should be a huge sign of disrespect to do that. So like, at some point, it's only heels of a certain level that do that.
Yeah. And I think they try to play it off like it's disrespectful, but when you do it every week, it's like it loses its luster.
No, absolutely. You guys both bring up very good points. I thought I was going to bring up good points, but now I'm conflicted. To be honest,
so say what you were going to say. Though.
No, I mean, I thought it was good, but then originally I was just like, she's not Austin. But Eric's like, yeah, you got to take him. Like, you're right, you got to take it, but you're not. But it's just, I think I gotta see it in the weeks. I'm not a huge fan of this feud right from the get-go. Because like I feel like we've constantly seen Nyla Rose in the title picture constantly.
Wait, real quick. And Britt Baker said in the promo, like, I wish you were my first opponent, pretty much voicing what we're all thinking. Which I kind of was like, all right, I kind of dig this as someone who just speaks truth. I don't know. I think that's like an interesting.
That's becoming her thing, is that she's speaking with truth and conviction with her promos, as in like she'll make fun of you as in like in a really bad way, but she's not lying. I just hope I kind of hope she just wins and then just moves on to the next one. Not saying it's not going to be good, not saying her promos like are bad. I'm excited for this. I actually thought about Quags every time. Like Quags, like old videos ago, you said like can't wait for the crowd to come back and chant DMD. So every time I do it, I always think of Quags.
I pop so hard for it, like in my house. I go literally every time she says it, I go.
So just classic. If you want to check back at our old videos, the Quags called it right now.
I thought it was so corny at first.
Give shout out to Esperanza Brandon for commenting on our old videos. If you're not a bot, cool of you. Little segue into that.
Even if you're a bot, we're down, baby.
Yeah, exactly. But
tweet us out to Russia. We're fine.
Yes, I'm gonna ponder a lot of what Quags and Eric are bringing to the table of this, and I'm gonna assess. I'll give it to next week. See how this match goes.
That's all right. So till then, we had Jon Moxley pacing backstage. Said he was the one boogeyman in New Japan and AEW. He accepted Archer's challenge, and next week Archer, who is Texas bred, will be Texas dead. Good intense promo. Terrible last line. That's all.
No, I did not mind the line. I thought the line was fun. Like when you got to end it corny. When you say Texas death match, like you're not gonna come off as in like, oh wow, look at this suave like human being coming in right here. It's gonna be silly.
I just wrote Texas dead LOL.
Yeah, they gave me a laugh. What I took this as is like Mox is he's just the resident anti-hero cool guy in the company. Like whatever he does, it's just gonna come off like, oh, okay, if he's doing it, then that's all right.
I think this belt is gonna exist as that. I think we're gonna have it's like I don't know what the WWE equivalent would be, the Intercontinental Championship or something. Like Mox just holds it for forever, people challenge, like at some point he'll do something else, but for a while this is gonna be what it is.
Smart.
All right, so then we had Sammy Guevara beating Wheeler Yuta, about 5 minutes with the GTH. This is a real fun, modern style, fast-paced match. Not necessarily a squash, but pretty close. In terms of Wheeler Yuta, I've heard of him all over, but I've never watched him wrestle. I thought it was weird him coming out with the Best Friends, but at least they explained it right away with clips from, I think, Dark and Elevation, which they could do a lot more of, I think.
Yes,
he's been winning a lot. I was watching.
Yeah.
They need to lean. No, they need to lean in on that more. We've said that before. Like, use those clips. It only takes 15 seconds to show them with each other on Dark and Elevation, which they put so much money and time into doing those shows.
So many matches.
And so we were texting about this. 1 million people watched Dynamite this week. How many people watched Elevation? 100,000. Yeah. Like I have no idea, but my point is like, show it. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a big deal.
And then my other thing was Wheeler Yuta is like a 5'10" kind of skinny guy who can do some acrobatic moves. Please don't sign him. They have enough people on this roster.
The Friends and Family show, Eric. They're gonna sign him.
But as a way to just have him on the show and have Sammy in not his hometown, but his home state of Texas get a victory, and he was over. So
over.
Yeah.
The finisher was great. I don't have anything to add except for the cutter off the ropes combined with the throwing him off the back on the knee. Like, man, Sammy looks great. He's a star.
Yeah, this was the Sammy showcase. I think they just knew that, like, hey, we're in Texas. We got to get Sammy on the show. And it's good on them. Promote your future, guys. Like, again, like how I got so frustrated, this whole Matt Hardy versus Christian Cage thing. I love it when they push their new guys going forward. Keep doing that.
All right, so then we had Tony interviewing QT Marshall backstage. QT poured a protein shake on Tony's head.
Yeah. So this faction is not doing anything for me, but I guess the only thing that maybe will come with it, if he's just good, like it's good on him to continue acting like a heel. He's very good in the ring. I'm hoping that maybe this is a thing.
Hold on.
Yeah,
he's okay. He's serviceable. Okay.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. Like he can.
You can tell he's a trainer in wrestling. As in he does the basics great. But that's what he'll do. He'll give you the fundamental sound moments that you need. I get that.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm hoping that whatever this was silly, but I'm imagining that like if he's gonna keep acting like a heel, maybe this will push some like young baby face or whatever, as in like, oh, I'm gonna stick up for this guy and go against QT. But I was not excited about this. This was like, all right, next please.
So wait, I'm gonna keep this quick, but I had such mixed emotions about this because I was like, oh, QT. And then I was like, oh, but good on them. He just lost a feud and they're still doing something to try to continue his story. And then they poured the protein shake and I was like, what the fuck was the point of this?
Oh, man. It's so random.
It was almost
so
like
random.
Beyond being a heel to me. Like it was like, that's so like crappy to do that to Tony.
You're trying hard. Like Tony's also sitting there and he's getting poured on. He's like, oh, come on, guys. I'm like, what do you mean, come on? You're not going to freak out. You're going to be like, out of the way.
I literally wrote, pouring something on Tony is not cool. Like, but not in like a heel way. I don't know.
Yeah, but hopefully also, maybe they'll do something with it.
Just to say something real quick, I think Agogo had to get another eye surgery. I think he might be done, though.
I was just going to say, where has he been? But
yeah,
that sucks.
I don't think from anything wrestling wise. I think just from his.
Yeah. No, he had a lot of eye surgeries. They kept like highlighting that, saying he was like technically blind in one eye or something like that. I mean, that just sucks to be honest. Hopefully that's not the case, but
yeah, obviously boxing messes you up, man. So wishing him the best, like that sucks.
Which to bring up like another thing, like every time someone's like, oh, he lost his sight in his left eye, or like his knee got destroyed in football. It's always like, so they came to wrestling. It's like, okay, so this is the lesser of the sports, obviously, because like people with like career-ending injuries can come and do this sport.
Well, it's like because you can plan it out. I guess
not a great life.
I know, but they're not supposed to be like.
But it's funny. I guess the idea is like you can plan it out, but the thing is like you really can't, right? Like you're not.
But like
you
more
can
than that,
and you can't.
But they should keep it in storyline. Even in storyline, Jim Ross will be like, oh yeah, he lost his eyesight in boxing, so he's coming here to do wrestling. It's like, well, this is supposed to be quote unquote just as dangerous, like or more. But
don't devalue your brand by trying to talk about how tough the other guy is. Be careful.
Don't talk about how awesome football is. Like, make your guys seem more badass than them. All right. That's just a little tangent, but all right. So then we had Yuka Sakazaki defeating Penelope Ford, right? Penelope in about 7 minutes with her magical girl splash.
So this is 2 in a row that I am super excited to talk about. I'm not going to call it great job of pronouncing her name, but I'm just going to call her Magic Girl. This was weird. Like, I'm okay with them building the women's division, but like this might be a Kenny Omega thing where I remember he talked about this, where he had a lot of Japanese women wrestle. It's just that type of match. I'm not talking about like, oh, I could care less what ethnicity they are. It's just random to me, as in like the announcer's like, it's this Magic Girl, Yuki something, whatever, comes in and like, oh, she's back. And I'm like, what do you mean she's back? And she has this like really hyper music, and the Texas crowd was actually great. Made this a little bit more serviceable. Like they're all like joking around, laughing, like dancing with this like crazy like music going around. I actually liked her finisher, the Magic Girl splash. I'm like, oh, okay, at least that was good. But I felt like this was an add-in of like, okay, we need a women's match. All right, let's get this Yuki girl, the Magic Girl, and let's get Penelope Ford's great. She's very serviceable. But this did nothing.
Great.
I said serviceable. Give me a little slack on it. But like, what do you want to do with Magic Girl? What do you want to do with the Magic Girl here? This was very random. I honestly kind of wish that they maybe had like, you know how we talked about A, B, C, and D like storylines, not like ranking them, just like just the hierarchy of it. Kind of wish they maybe push forward storyline in the women's division, not just like, oh, okay, let's have this like random like Yuki girl and like everyone. Like, how many times have we seen that? Like, it's kind of annoying. Now they're like, oh, look, she's so cute. Oh, look at this like fun dancing music. It's just like, I know that's a niche for some people, but like when you guys just said 1 million viewers watch us, they're definitely looking at that as I'm like, what the fuck is this? Sorry for language. It's just I was confused.
Yuki Sakazaki got Christopher to drop the F-bomb.
Yeah.
What'd you think of this, Quags?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other stories you could tell.
From the heart. What do we know?
No, there's like a lot of other women wrestlers that we know that I would rather see in the spot before the main event. And we don't know this woman. Like, I think this is where they get in their own head a little bit. Because I think they are telling like Sheeta's story or a comeback story on Dark and on Elevation and soon to be on Rampage. Mm-hmm. But people are not watching that in the same frequency. So what are you doing putting this woman in the almost primetime spot that no one knows who she is? We do this podcast every week. We watch Dynamite every week. I don't know who this is.
Wait. Let me step in there real quick. She's wrestled at least 3 times in Dynamite, but it was before COVID. You guys don't remember her at all?
No.
I remember her because I remember the awful Aladdin outfit.
Yes.
I mean, that's
a
like
while
18 months ago. Whatever.
Yeah. Like, why couldn't they have
so that's
Sheeta?
fair.
Why couldn't they have, like, honestly, you know what this spot would have been perfect for? Have Jade Cargill just squash some random woman. That would have been perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Right before the main
Jade?
event. That would have been, the easiest thing to do. I did not know why they need to do this.
It's fine. It's fine. It's just a weird choice. It's just it's a weird choice.
It's a very weird.
I just want to bring up something that my buddy Carl said, which is building on something you just said, Quags. He was like, "Can you guys bring up Yuka Sakazaki getting a match on Dynamite before Sheeta did since her title loss? She hasn't had a match on Dynamite since she lost that title."
So that's what I'm saying. They're building. So I know what they're doing. They're going to say like, oh, Sheeta, who's been undefeated since she lost or whatever crazy thing they're going to do. And then she's going to have like a number 1 contender match against whoever, and then she's going to lose or but that's what I'm saying. They're getting in their own heads too much. People are not watching that stuff. I want to see Sheeta. What's Sheeta up to? But I'm not going to watch her YouTube show on Monday. Sorry. I'm 2 hours a week is enough for me.
Why? I just said okay, they could have did a Jade squash match. That would have been another perfect option. Why could it seemed like they threw in Penelope because she's gonna take the loss and she knows what to do in the ring. Why couldn't you just put Sheeta in there? Shout out to Carl. Carl, give us another comment that doesn't say negative comment. Give me a good comment.
No, Carl, you can say whatever. All right, let's move to the main event. All right, we saw a quick ad for AEW Rampage. Then we had the main event match.
Can I say one more thing? No, I just
this got us heated. We did not think this was the most thing that was going to be talked about.
I think we know what our anchor of the night is.
Yeah, guys.
1 women's promo and 1 bad women's match. I just need more. And don't stick it all on Dark, Elevation, or Rampage.
Let me hop in and say I highly disagree. You don't have the women to put out great matches. Why would you put them on national television?
We just named 2 women that could have had this spot. You don't need 15 different women to have one.
But you could have a squash. You could have it. You could have it.
This is a match before the main event. This isn't a main event. So let's not treat it as if we need some established stars here. This is a match before the main event. We're just talking about
I know that's all. I'm not going to get on the soapbox about it, but it's just, to me, it's just it's just a swing and a miss a lot of the time.
Yes.
But
I just want to get on the Jade Cargill thing real quick because I agree. I would love to see her doing squashes. But if you're constantly winning on television over and over again, and I don't think this is a good enough excuse, but at some point people are going to be like, wait, why isn't Jade Cargill getting a title match? And I think they're going to have Jade Cargill be the one to eventually beat Britt Baker because that would be a real fun thing. And you can't have that person fly too close to the sun or else you're going to be like, wait, this girl's destroying everyone. Why are they having everyone else get title matches?
Completely agree with that. I'm just saying the squash match was not going to get her close to the sun. I don't think it was going to. Maybe once.
I know there's other considerations, and like I'm not a booker, I'm not Tony Khan, but I'm just saying what they're doing is not meeting what they need to be doing. So like fix it. I guess.
all our Sakazaki subscribers
just went down.
Yeah,
just went down a notch.
All right. So then after an ad for AEW Rampage, we had main event coffin match, Darby Allin, Scorpio Sky. Darby Allin versus Ethan Page, sorry. Early on in the match, Scorpio Sky popped out of the coffin, attacked Darby, but Sting came out, beat the crap out of him. It was a brutal match, which Darby won in about 13 minutes with a flying skateboard stomp to the back. After the match, Darby Allin coffin dropped the coffin, and it exploded onto Page. I like Darby coming out with a metal back plate that he had on, that he did like off the ropes coffin drop.
That was sweet.
I really liked the Scorpio Sky coming out of the coffin and Sting fighting him off. I thought that was really fun. The use of the metal ring hook was good, although it was very clear when Darby had it in his mouth that he wasn't pulling very hard. The Ego's Edge onto the steps was fantastic. And I loved the end because when he did the skateboard stop into the thing, I was like, that was pretty good, but that was a little underwhelming. There was bigger bumps in that. And then he like climbed up to do the coffin jump. Like, holy shit. You missed that. If you hit the sides on that, you could really mess your back up bad.
I mean, if you miss it, dude, he hit it. And who knows where the wood is going? Like, I know it's, balsa wood or whatever, but still.
We're talking about Darby getting hurt in this. Imagine being Ethan Page being closed.
Ethan Page.
Can't see. You're like,
just knowing, like, when the crowd's cheering really loud at some point, like, he's probably coming in the next 5 seconds.
He's just
he's probably in the car. He's like, this guy's going to smash me. This is going to suck.
I think they had, like, the referee or something be, like, coming, like, he's coming now or something. But, yeah,
still nerve-wracking. You don't see it. Yeah, like,
I'd be horrified. But I thought this match was awesome.
So good.
This is so awesome. This is one of my favorite AEW matches that I've seen. Man, when they got in the, everything you said, Sharp, obviously amazing. The hook stuff looked really bad. That was their only big mess.
That was the only fault.
I still thought it was worth doing though.
Yeah,
good idea.
Sadistic, but
it was a good idea. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It was a good idea. It was sadistic. They just didn't execute it super well. But I get that too. Like, Ethan Page is like a sweetheart, I feel like, in real life. He's like, I don't want to rip Darby's cheek.
He is a cool
dude. Yeah. The ending was just so good. The onto the steps, the skateboard thing, and then you're like, wow, the match is over. And I agree. I was like, okay, that's pretty intense, but I don't know. And then when he climbed up to that top rope, it was like, no way.
Everyone started standing up. We're like, holy shit, he's not going to do that, is he? And then he did.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll add is when they were both standing in the coffin, punching back and forth. That was really cool too. I like that because I feel like usually in a coffin match, both competitors avoid the coffin as much as they possibly can. So to have them sort of welcome that and, just be hitting each other and like, whatever, if I go down now, who cares? That was cool, but man, this is so good.
I think that was like kind of an ode to like, Undertaker's matches. He would have his like whatever his coffin matches, and like that was like a spot he would always do. So I think that was a cool shout out to them, kind of giving respect in that. I even thought the timing of this stuff was very good too. Like I actually liked Scorpio Sky and Sting coming in early. Like I would have been kind of like, if they came at the end. They came in early and like, because they're gonna come in. So that was really cool that he was just in the coffin. When Sting comes down, they're fighting in the crowd because for like they're on the road in Texas, like they want to see Sting. Like even if it's for like 2 minutes of him just punching someone, they just to get in there. I like the story of like. I'm glad they told like, oh, they were feuding on the independents for a while, and we knew that. You could tell both of them wrestled each other for a long time. They seemed like they knew exactly where to go and everything like that. when I saw the Ego's Edge thing, I honestly thought I'm like, oh, okay, he'll definitely do it on the steps. And then he starts climbing the turnbuckle. I'm like, these guys are insane. And then he just chucks them. I'm just like, okay. It's funny how you brought that up, Eric, as in like when you did the skateboard spot, like that was a cool thing too. At the beginning, we used to actually talk about before the pandemic, but like at Daly's place, they don't have a ramp. So it was kind of cool to see Darby rolling in the skateboard. I'm like, oh, okay. So like we're getting that back, which is sweet. So he did the skateboard spot and he falls in. I like that. I was like, oh, okay. Like in my head though, like I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of where we had a coffin match and he does the coffin drop and I'm like, and like 10,000 times he never even did it. And then he like scooted it and I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'll be honest, Eric, me and Quacks couldn't even like hold it in. We texted each other on the side just because we didn't want to.
Yeah, we were.
We were just like, holy shit, that was insane. I was like, yeah, that was like, why did they agree to that?
I also said to my wife, I was like, oh, he has a skateboard. And she was like, what do you mean? Doesn't he always have it? And I was like, no.
No, there's no ramp. There's no skateboard.
And it was hilarious because we went to the when he wrestled Jericho in Philly, like on the third Dynamite. And I was like, don't you remember? And for a while she was like, no, I don't think I. And then it was like, oh, yes, he got his hands tied. Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, sorry, just
no, but that's like who's
someone that doesn't watch wrestling, but who sticks. It really sticks with you. You know what I mean? Like how crazy
like these small things like could really like stick out a long way. I think that's one of the reasons why Darby's over. It's just like, yeah, he does crazy things, but it's just like people kind of relate to that in a sense. What I also thought was interesting was that this is a main event match, and they were hyping this up for a while. It wasn't super long, and I was thinking like, oh, I thought this would have a little bit more time. But
that was
also,
good. That was
good. It was good because it is a coffin match, and like, how long do you really want this match to go? Like without it getting stale.
You get hit with a metal hook like in the first 4 minutes. You're like,
I'm like,
what's realistic that this guy could be fighting 20 minutes later?
Right, and it's just like, how much belief can you like suspend here as in like, oh, they're gonna go in the coffin now, like because then it gets stale after a while. So I'd actually like that. I'm like, oh, okay, it was good. That was on the shorter side than the longer side.
Yeah, not every big match needs to be 20 minutes.
No, correct.
100. You should tweet that, Quaz, because 100% that is the truth. There are some great, incredible 12-minute matches.
That is true. That is true.
Well, I even think, I mean, this is like way on the other side of the spectrum, but like the Goldberg Lesnar matches that were like 2 minutes.
Yeah, were a blast.
They were great.
This guy can't go more than 10 minutes. I do not want to see Goldberg go more than
we don't need that.
I don't want to see that.
They tried to do that, and he almost killed Undertaker. I mean, so,
I don't want to see it. I just wanted to see 4 minutes of mayhem. That's basically it.
Yeah.
All right. So bringing it back, I tell me if I'm wrong, but I think we have a Rocket as the coffin match and the Anchor as the women's match.
That's correct.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I know. I hate the uniformity, but there is no.
It is what it is.
But what's the rating of the show? Because there's, like, obviously this was a great Rocket, but like, there's been plenty of like good things about this show. I'm curious of your guys' rating.
Dude, I'm 9.5 for this. This was just about as good as it could be to me. I mean, the women's match was bad. But that was really the only thing I didn't like. I really loved this show. I told you guys last night. I felt this all today. I was so excited to talk about it. And bonus, listeners, I did not watch the opening match until actually about 20 minutes before we started recording because I tuned in at 8:20. So I was like, let me see this opening match. And then when that was really good too, I was like, yeah. So I'm super high on this show. I know that's the size I've been. I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, give me a 9.5 too. Honestly, the beginning of the show, I was really excited for like stuff that I didn't think. Maybe it was just because I didn't have gigantic expectations going into this after Road Rager. Like I thought that was like, I enjoyed Road Rager. But like, I thought that was the theme that we're going to get each week, as in like, okay, it's going to be like more than Dynamite, but not great. This, I thought, hit out of the park. This Texas crowd really made it a show. I love the Starks and Cage, the beginning match and stuff. I know
crowd was so good.
I think that's what made it. So give me a solid 9.5.
mine's going to be a little lower than your guys. I'm like an 8.5, but
Mhm.
it bears repeating that the freaking John Moxley coming out to Wild thing, with the
Oh,
crowd going nuts.
Mm.
It gives you such a fun, like spontaneous feeling of like, oh, I gotta be there. I want to be in that crowd.
It's like
I
if
loved-
they're in your town and you want to go to a show, like that's actually a highlight. Like you're thinking about is like as we're all fans, like I can't wait to go in there and sing Wild Thing when Moxley comes out. Like that's something I'm excited to do.
Well, yeah, I think that, I mean, in a couple months here, they're going to be here. I'm so excited to go see, but yeah, totally. And I loved how, I think it was Shivani said, like, ever since Wild Thing hit, this crowd has been crazy. It might have been Excalibur. I don't remember who it was on the announce team. But yeah, like, I love that they're pointing that out and that they're really calling out, like, yeah, this is a thing. Like, so cool. Which it makes sense because you spend the money on the song.
Yeah, because it is expensive, but it does add so much more. We talk about product presentation, adds so much to just his character and everything. If all of us three manage to go to a show together, we'll record live for the viewers or whatever, and then they'll be like, "Oh, those are the kicked out of 2 podcast review boys. Bring them on down." Maybe we'll get
t-shirts.
Yeah, we'll get orange t-shirts. We'll get bright orange t-shirts and be prominent with them. We'll get on TV.
All right, guys. I think we should call it here.
Yes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Please comment. Go down low and comment. Yeah, even if you really think it sucks.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Or if it's really good, you know what I mean?
That would be better. That would help our ego.
Well, if you
click that damn orange
we'll
box.
accept your criticism. Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, whatever you identify as, just keep watching the show. we accept everybody.
Yeah, we're with you.
Sick right there.
Don't even have to watch Dynamite. Just listen to this podcast.
That's true.
All right.
Take it
Later,
easy.
guys.
Later.